Hey everyone, this is going to be the second part to the trigonometry lesson, trigonometry continued. So I'm not actually going to go through this first page, right? This first page is mostly review. Actually, it's all review of sine, basically what we did yesterday. If you have specific questions on this first page, just come ask me or shoot me an email. But I want to use this video to go over the new stuff, all right? So yesterday we learned about sine, all right? But sine doesn't answer every problem, okay? For example, if we look at this problem right here, okay, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, okay? So if we look opposite of the 42-degree angle, you'll notice that this side is blank, okay? So we actually can't use sine here at all. Okay, so that's why we need other trig functions. And we're actually going to go over 3 trig functions here, okay? So we got sine. Like I just said, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, and this is referring to side lengths. I'll kind of explain this below, okay? Then we have cosine. Okay, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent means next to. So the adjacent side is the side that is not the hypotenuse, but it's the one next to the angle. Okay, so that's cosine, is how that's pronounced. Spelled like this. Okay. And then we have the last one, which is tangent, and it's abbreviated TAN. And tangent is when you don't use the hypotenuse at all. It's the opposite side over the adjacent side. Okay. So your job is to look at a triangle, see what 2 sides you have, and determine which of these trig functions you need to use, okay? So we're going to go through this real quick and talk about this in more detail, okay? So I'm going to focus on A first, all right? So if I'm focused on this angle A right here, okay, the opposite side to that angle is 3, okay? The hypotenuse is always across from the right angle, so that's here, okay? So the side that's not the hypotenuse or the opposite, that's the adjacent side, okay? And that's always going to be the side that's next to the angle, but it's the one that's not the hypotenuse. So from A's point of view, that's how these 3 sides are labeled, okay? So if I want to say what's the cosine of A, well, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so I want to look at what's adjacent to A, and that's 4, okay? And then I want to look at the hypotenuse, which is 5. So the cosine of A is 4 over 5. All right, that's how you would write that trig ratio. Then if you want to write the tangent of A, that's opposite over adjacent. So opposite is 3, all right? So that goes on top. Here, tangent is opposite over adjacent. Adjacent, we've already said, is 4, so the tangent of A is 3 over 4, okay? Now, for B, it's different, okay? If we're focused on side B, now the sides are not the same, okay? Hypotenuse is the same. This is always the hypotenuse. It's across from the right angle. But now, if we look directly across from B, we're pointing at 4. So now, 4 is opposite, and 3 is adjacent, all right? 3 is the one that's next to B. So you gotta make sure you know what angle you're looking at and make sure you know what the sides are in comparison to that angle, okay? So if we wanna do cosine of B, that's adjacent over hypotenuse, so that's 3 over 5. And then next, we have tangent of B, which is opposite over adjacent, so that would be 4 over 3. So it's really important that you're able to like write trig ratios like this, okay? How do you keep all this straight, okay? You keep it straight with this, all right? This is called SOHCAHTOA, and I encourage you to pause this video and fill this out. But the way that you use this is it's all the abbreviations of the trig functions and also with its side lengths, okay? So here we've got sine, right? So is about sine. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse, okay? And so if you remember this will tell you all of them. Then we have cosine, all right? Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And then finally we have tangent, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. So you should know SOHCAHTOA, okay? It's really gonna be helpful for later when you have to figure out which trig function you actually wanna use, okay? So, like I said, make sure you have this written down if you haven't already. So we're gonna use that to solve this problem here. This is the one that we had from earlier, right? And we looked across and our opposite side was blank, okay? So we don't have anything for our opposite. I think it's helpful to label your right triangles. So if we look across from the right angle, this is our hypotenuse. And so therefore this angle must be adjacent, okay? Or sorry, this side. So what uses adjacent and a hypotenuse? Well, if we go look at SOHCAHTOA for A and H, that's cosine. All right, so we're gonna have to use cosine for this problem. So we wanna write out our trig ratio. So we've got cosine of 42 equals, adjacent is x, hypotenuse is 22. So we've got cosine of 42 equals x over 22. Now you solve this the exact same way that you solve sine. So we're gonna multiply by 22 on both sides. And now we wanna put this right here into our calculator. All right, so I'm gonna pull up Desmos, that way you guys can see me type it in. So we've got 22 times cosine of 42, and that gives us an answer of 16.3. All right, so x, that side length is gonna be 16.3, and that does make sense, right? Because our hypotenuse is 22, so 16.3, you know, that's a little bit less. Next, we're gonna look at this one. We're gonna do the same thing, all right? We're looking at this perspective from 70. We look across. This is opposite. We look across from the right angle. There's our hypotenuse. Now, this time our hypotenuse is blank. So that means we're gonna be using the opposite side and the adjacent side. So which one uses opposite and adjacent? That would be tangent, all right? So TOA, T-O-A, we're gonna be using the tangent of 70. So tangent is opposite over adjacent. So opposite was x, adjacent was 4. And so now we wanna multiply both sides by 4. So again, we just wanna type this into our calculator. 4 times the tangent of 70. And that gives us 10.9899. So pretty much if you round this, it gives us 11, okay? So x is 11 for this problem. So that's how you do these. Hopefully you're in class on Friday, March 19th. We're gonna do a lot of practice with this, okay? But if you're just watching this back from the future, this is kind of what you gotta do for each problem. So if you have any questions, let me know, and have a great day.